7 weeks ago, I brought home 8 silkworms from the pet store so I could let them transform and watch them go from a little worm to a silk moth. And almost 2 months later, I'm here with the full update on the journey. The moths they turn into are so freaking cute, but that's not the only thing that I wanted to witness. I also wanted to see how silk is made, because silkworms are the actual creators of silk, and I was always curious to see the weird process of spinning silk too. So when I got home, you can imagine I was really excited to start the journey. The pet store put them in this sad little container, but we all know I was about to change that. I rehoused them in this little home and added a little egg carton and this mulberry chow special for silkworms to eat. Usually in nature, they eat mulberry leaves, but you can also choose to feed them chow. They can eat 100 times their body weight in just a few weeks, so I made sure to buy a lot so they could grow and morph just right. They very quickly acclimatized to their new home and they definitely ate a lot every day. But I was excited because after 3 to 4 weeks of eating, that's when they begin to enter the pupa stage to transform into the cutest moth to ever exist. Trust me on that one. The moth is no bigger than a couple of inches. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here because we still had a few weeks until that would happen. But to be honest, I didn't expect everything to happen so fast. For 2 weeks, I kept feeding them, checking on their enclosure, making sure everything in their environment was good, until one day I noticed that a couple of them began to stop eating as much, and I knew that meant one thing: the start of metamorphosis. And a few days after that, I found this little guy covered in silk strands, and in that moment, I knew that this one was ready to start spinning a silk cocoon so it could turn into a moth. I separated it from the others, and I left the silk it had already spun as it was, but I think that was a mistake because I soon saw the little one struggling to continue spinning the cocoon when I moved it into a new egg carton, and eventually it just rejected the piece of silk it spun and started spinning an entirely new one. So that was really interesting. But what happened next was insane. It started spinning silk strands in a figure-8 pattern, slowly creating a protective barrier of silk in that egg carton. I watched as the time-lapse showed me exactly how the little one transforms into the next stage of life. I swear I was starting to get emotional because watching animals morph, change, and grow is something that just makes me the happiest I could ever be. There are special glands in their heads that produce liquid silk, and when it hits air, the worm spins it and it creates their cocoons. And it's crazy because once the silkworms finish spinning their cocoons, it's actually the moment where they're taken and boiled alive to harvest silk, usually in places like China, India,